Silk Road by Nick Middleton. This is the fourth and last part of the lesson. The links to the other videos can be found in the description box. My explanation makes use of the question answer way. A possible question could be, why did Darchin not seem to be so horrible now? Darchin did not seem to be so horrible because the narrator had slept soundly the previous night, so he was feeling better. The word derelict means in a very poor condition as a result of misuse and neglect. Word meanings: rubble means waste or rough fragments of stone or brick. Refuse means garbage and rubbish. The town was still dusty and in a poor condition due to heaps of garbage and broken stones. Yet he could see the Himalayas because the sun shone brightly in a clear blue sky, and dominantly a huge snow capped mountain, Gurla Mandhata, could be seen with just a bit of cloud suspended over its summit. Summit means the peak. Next question. Briefly describe the town of Darchin. There were not many shops in Darchin. The town had a couple of basic general stores that sold provisions as well as prayer flags. The pictures that you see in the background are actual pictures of the town of Darchin. Rudimentary means basic. The town appeared to be sparsely populated. He felt lonely as he could not see any pilgrims around. He had reached there very early in the season. Men gathered in front of one of the shops for a game of pool. Battered means injured by repeated blows or punishment. Incongruous means inappropriate or unsuited. These two adjectives have been used by the writer to describe the table that looks worn out and out of place. Brook means river. Nearby, women wash their long hair in the icy cold water of a river. The next question. What was the notable drawback about Darchin? Darchin was relaxed and unhurried, but that was a notable drawback because there were no pilgrims. The word bustling means be full of activity. At the height of the pilgrimage season, the town was full of visitors. Many visitors brought their own tents to stay in. They placed tents from the hills to the plain. He had timed his arrival for the beginning of the season, but now it seemed to him that he was too early, as there were hardly any visitors. The word pondering means think about something carefully. As he sat thinking about the options of his onward journey, he concluded that they were really limited. He had not made much progress with his self help program on positive thinking. He defended this by telling himself that it hadn't been easy with all his sleeping difficulties. The only thing that he could do now was wait. The word trodden means walked upon. The pilgrimage road was well walked upon, but he didn't fancy doing it on his own. In this last part of the chapter, the author meets Norbu. Why didn't the narrator want to perform the Kora alone? Whom was he looking for? The word liable means likely. The author wanted to reach Mount Kailash to perform Kora, but he didn't want to do it alone. It could only be performed during some seasons because parts of the route were likely to be blocked by snow. He didn't know whether the snow had cleared or not. Additionally, the chunks of dirty ice that still clung to the banks of Darchin's river discouraged him from moving on. He was looking for someone who could speak or understand English since Cezanne had left. Then he met Norbu when he was sitting in a cafe. The next question could be, describe the cafe where the narrator met Norbu. The word cavernous means dark, like a cave. This word has been used to describe the cafe. The cafe was small and dark and had a long metal stove in the middle. Its walls and ceiling were covered with sheets of multicolored plastic. The plastic was striped and broad. It was of blue, red, and white colors. Stout means strong and thick. Voluminous means spacious, something which can carry a lot of things. That plastic is made into strong, thick, and spacious shopping bags which are sold all over China and in many other countries. As such, plastic must rate as one of China's most successful exports along the Silk Road today. The cafe had a single window beside which the narrator sat so that he could see the pages of his notebook. He had also brought a novel with him which he could read when he was getting bored. Norbu saw his book when he came in and gestured whether he could sit at his table. He inquired whether the narrator was English as they struck up a conversation. He was wearing a wind cheater and a metal rimmed spectacles of a Western style. He said that he was a Tibetan but worked in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in the Institute of Ethnic Literature. When he said that he had come to do the Kora, the narrator felt very glad. Norbu had been writing academic papers about the Kailash Kora and its importance in various works of Buddhist literature for many years. But he had never actually performed it himself. When he learnt that the narrator had also come to Darjeeling for the same purpose, he felt excited and suggested that they could be a team. They would be two academics who have escaped from the library. Academics are people who study something or the other, but his relief at meeting Norbu, who was also staying in the same guest house, was short lived. Why was it short lived? Because he was almost as ill equipped for the pilgrimage as the narrator, meaning to say that he also did not have much knowledge about how to proceed on the journey. He kept telling the narrator how fat he was and how hard and tiresome it would be for him to walk. He wasn't really a practicing Buddhist, but he had enthusiasm and he was a Tibetan. All these gestures of Norbu are funny and the narrator finds them very entertaining. This also tells us that Norbu was a fat person, and later on he informs us that he also had a big tummy. So, on one hand, his not being Buddhist is a drawback for performing the Kora, but on the other hand, his enthusiasm and being a Tibetan is his strong point. The word envisaged means thought. Earlier, the narrator had thought of making the trek in the company of devout believers, means who were the followers of God, but later decided that Norbu would perhaps be the ideal companion. Why did the narrator feel so? Because he would go on entertaining the narrator and they shared a lot of common things. Norbu suggested that they hire some yaks to carry their luggage. I've got a picture of a yak for you all. As it was not possible for him to prostrate himself all round the mountain because it wasn't his style and anyway his tummy was too big. Prostrate means to lie down on one's stomach. So, the idea that Norbu was crawling around the mountain to perform the kora lying on his tummy, which was very fat, is very funny to imagine. This was the end of my lesson Silk Road. If you learned from it, like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel.